Okay, chapter 6.6, add and subtract mixed numbers. Now, please don't be afraid. It's very similar to adding and subtracting fractions. We still have to do all the same things, common denominators, etc. The story on page 265 talks about mixing paint, and we don't need to go into all the details. You can look it up, you can read through that, and you can pause this video if you need to check it out. But we're adding 1 and 4/5, and we'll just write that down, 1 and 4/5 plus 2 and 1/10. And let's just pause before we move on and remember that 1 is a whole number. 1 and 4/5 is a whole number and a fraction. So mixed numbers include a whole number and a fraction. So we're adding 1 and 2. And 1 plus 2, I'm going to write some, my circles never quite work, but there we go. 1 plus 2 equals 3. Okay, we can see that. And then we have little fractions that go with it. And if we were estimating, we might say that 1 and 4/5 rounds to 2. So see, 4/5 is almost 1. So it's almost like we actually have 2 plus 1 and 2 and a half. We can leave 2 and a half alone. And that would equal 4 and a half. And we should be able to just see that. 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. That's just looking at the front digits, the 1 and the 2. So we know we have at least 3. We're adding this extra fraction, which is like adding 1 more and then another half. So we add 1 more, and that gives us 2, and then another half, and that gives us 4 and a half. We can kind of think through the problem before we begin actually doing it. And then when we actually start working on it, let's write it vertically. 1 and 4/5 plus 2 and 1/10. That's not 2 and 1/10. I said 2 and 1/2. So this is not the one from page 265. 2 and 1/2. The one from 265, if I had written it down correctly the first time, does say 1/10. And I've got 1/2 written down here. That works. We're going to go to tenths, and either way, that's what we'll do. Maybe I'll do that one next. Let's make that line just a little straighter. Okay. So we're going to move over, and we're going to rewrite these. Okay, that's what the book has us do. We're going to rewrite these as 1 and 4/5 and 1/2. Each of those fifths and half goes into, what's the common denominator? Yeah, it's 10. And the next one is 2, and the common denominator is 10. We have to figure out how to take 4/5 into some number of tenths. So we do that just like we have been. 5 times 2 is 10. So 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, and down here, 1/2. Half times 5 is 10. So 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, now we can add. Now we're just adding these two fractions, and we can add them vertically. 8 plus 5 is 13 tenths, and 1 plus 2 is 3. And this is an okay answer. The reason I say it's an okay answer is because now we have what's called an improper fraction. And it's probably why the book used 1/10 instead of 1/2. They didn't get that. So we'll do that problem next. This is more than one whole pizza, or more than one whole of anything. 13 tenths, we know it takes, so if I come over here on the side and I just do a little side problem, 13 tenths is the same, it's equal to 10 tenths, which is 1, plus 3 tenths. So 10 tenths is 1 more. So really this can be written as 3 plus 1 more, this is that 10 tenths, plus 3 tenths, and then we just rewrite 3 plus 1 as 4. So our answer is 4 and 3 tenths. Okay, so we keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, 4 and 3 tenths. Now our estimate was 4 and a half, And our answer is 4 3/10, and that's pretty close. That's a decent estimate. Let's quickly just do the problem that actually is on page 265. 1 4/5, that was the correct part. 2 1/10, that's what it was supposed to be. And if we take a quick estimate, again, 1 4/5, 4/5 rounds up to another 1, so that's 2. 1 4/5 is about 2. 2 1/10, 1/10 rounds down to 0, so that's about 2. So our answer should be about 4. Okay? And again, we're going to find the common denominator of 10. The nice thing about this problem is that we already have tenths down here on the bottom. So 2 1/10 can be rewritten as 2 1/10. We don't have to change anything here. But we do have to change something here. So we're going to change 5 into 10. And 5 times 2 is 10. 4 times 2 is 8. So 4/5 is the same as 8/10. And we still have 1. See, the 1 didn't change, it just came over here. 1 4/5 is the same as 1 8/10. Just like 2 1/10 is the same as 2 1/10. And now we're going to add down. 8 plus 1 is 9/10. Remember the size, the bottom number, the denominator, is just the size of the piece. That doesn't change, but we're adding the 8 pieces plus the 1 piece to get 9 pieces. And we have 1 whole plus 2 wholes equals 3. So 3 9/10 makes sense. Our estimate was close. It's 4. 3 9/10 is almost 4. And so this is a good answer. And most of your problems in the book are probably going to give you stuff like this. We have to do some subtraction problems too. So let's do one of those real quick. Maybe we'll do a couple more just to make sure you have it. And I'm looking at 266 now. Switch to green or clover. 4 5/6 minus 2 3/4. Now, if we just do a quick estimate, this is about like 5 minus 3 equals 2. Because 4 5/6 rounds up to 5, and 2 3/4 rounds up to 3. 5 take away 3 is 2. So that's just our guesstimate, our estimate to begin with. And then we'll rewrite it, 4 5/6 in the vertical format, minus, now this is the hard part, some of us add when we're supposed to subtract, or we subtract when we're supposed to add, 2 3/4. And we have to find a common denominator. It looks like 6 is our common denominator. So we're going to rewrite this as 4 and some number of sixths. Looks like we can just use 5 because that comes straight over. And this one is going to be 2 and some number of sixths. And this is the tricky part, and it's really the only tricky thing in here. We have to change 2/3 into some number of sixths, just like we did on the last ones. 3 times 2 is 6. So 2 times 2 is 4. And 2 2/3 is the same as 2 4/6. Then we subtract. 5 take away 4 is 1 of size 6. And 4 take away 2 is 2. So our answer is 2 1/6. Our estimate was 2. So it's reasonable, and we can just move along our business. That's what happens. You have to simplify sometimes. We'll check one of those out. I think this one will have us simplify, hopefully. 7 2/5 plus 4 3/4. This is in your book. You can do this with me. 7 2/5. Fifths and fourths both go into 20ths. So this changes into 7 and some number of 20ths. This changes into 4 and some number of 20ths. Now we have a common denominator, and we just have to figure out how to get to 20ths. 5 times 4 is 20, so 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 5 is 20, so 3 times 5 is 15. And we're adding So 8 plus 15. Ooh, this gives us one of those that we already kind of worked on. We have to simplify here. 8 plus 15 is 23. And that's more than our whole 23/20ths. 7 plus 4 is 11. So I have 11 wholes plus 23/20ths. And this is fine, but we're not quite done. We have to take just a minute and take this 23/20ths and change it into 20/20ths plus 3/20ths. And this becomes 1 whole. 20/20ths is 1, and we add that to the 11, so it actually equals 12 and 3/20ths. And you have to think about that a little bit, but you can make that work. I think that's really all you need to know. Just keep working. Have a great day.